So for today, I want to talk about a few fun interactions that my Patron of the Moon deck has. Patron is a 5/4 flying with Moonfolk Offering, and also he gets to put in lands into play tapped, which goes really well with Moonfolk, because Moonfolk like to return lands and do additional abilities. So float some mana, if you can, return some lands, and use Patron's ability. With that, you get to do things like gain some life from playing a land multiple times, deal some damage to a player playing it multiple times. Keep bouncing those back and forth. Also, untap some lands with Breeze Caller or something like Tiller Engine to start netting some mana. Because you're playing 2 additional lands, you get 2 untaps. Also, Crumbling Vestige. Start building up some mana, because when this comes into play, even though it's tapped, it does produce a land from being played. But with the Tiller, you can untap it. Also, with all this returning lands to your hands, there are moments in the game where you're going to have less lands than everybody else. And you might actually end up putting most of your lands into your hand at sometimes. A card that is never really played too often, Surveyor Scope, lets you exile it and search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of players who control at least 2 more lands than you. Put those cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So with you being able to manipulate your lands on a dime, playing this is essentially free ramp. Get 3 extra lands for the turn. So you play this early, and then once you have your commander out, play around with your land count, crack the Surveyor Scope, and you are up in mana. Also with this, the Patron lets you play some spells that you might not want to play, like Thwart. Return 3 islands. That's a huge cost in this kind of game. But with this commander, he makes it kind of easy. Same thing with Gush and Snare. Lands that people don't want to return islands to hands, but you get additional land drops from your commander. And you can do things with landfall abilities, triggering those off that. And, in the end, sometimes it's really fun when you just sunder everything on the board so that you float some mana and then no one has lands, but you have all the lands. But tell me what you guys think. I think this is a fun commander, and it's very different than most.